'tis autumn. Finally, our season has come, which means I have a lot of sewing projects planned and I'm so excited. Lots of shootings, lots of collaborations. It is only early September, but it seems like autumn's coming very early this year in Scotland. It's already cold, the leaves are changing. You know, when you open the windows in the morning, you've got some condensation on them, and I find this quite whimsical, even though we do get a lot of mold here, so whimsical mold. With autumn approaching, I'm feeling creative, I'm feeling great. You know, it's that time of the year where you can get pumpkin spice lattes and pumpkin spice fragrances and pumpkin spice candles, and I've already been to TK Maxx and Primark and just like bought everything, and now we've got lots of new fragrances all over the house. And Jack's like, why can we not actually light these candles? I'm like, the candles are not for lighting, they're to sit around for a year and smell nice, and then we light them next year once I buy new ones. So with that being said, Jack is going down to Manchester for a weekend and I have the flat to myself. What a normal person would do is they would invite all of their friends and have a huge sleepover and do girly things together, and it would be fun. So I am not really a people person, so I do have some friends somewhere around the globe, but no one close enough to come through to do a sleepover with me. Also, I think I would not actually enjoy it, but for the sake of whimsy, I thought we could do a sleepover together. So you are invited to join me for an autumnal weekend at my place. And what that means is we're going to do some sewing, we're going to do some reading, we're going to make pumpkin spice latte in pumpkin mugs. You know, it's all of that. So that being said, let's talk about the sewing project that I'm going to do for this weekend. That is probably just the main video. I don't know why I'm trying to make this a sleepover thing. I thought it would be fun, it would be cozy, but mainly this video is about sewing, as my videos are. So the other day I went to the garden house and I found this wool. Last year I bought this fabric and I think I got it from pound a meter, so it's some kind of wool blend, but I'm not pretending this is like a massive amount of wool. It's probably more polyester than anything, but it doesn't feel too bad, and it just looks very autumnal. And I think they sold it quite late into autumn, so I got 2 different batches of wool. So I put them into my fabric stack and then just kind of told myself I'd use them next year. And then, you know, a year passed, I forgot about them. So when I cleaned out my fabric stack to find a different fabric, I stumbled upon this and I was like, show you a little close-up of it. So basically it's some kind of wool mix. It's somewhat rusty beige and it's got these blue and magenta lines running through it, which weirdly enough reminds me now of Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. So maybe this is the chevron wool that has Haiyan lines running through it. Is that how you pronounce it? Haiyan? Why does everything relate to books? But originally I thought of making a coat out of it, but I keep telling myself I will make a coat one day, but I'm terrified, you know. I've gotten more confident at making jackets. I just haven't gotten to the point where I'm confident enough to make a coat yet. But I thought this would be really cute for maybe making a little pinafore dress, because I've been absolutely in love with pinafore dresses, and especially now with autumn coming, you know, just having like this little wool dress and then a little jumper underneath, it would be so cozy. And we're going to make it together, and we're going to have a lovely weekend and talk about books and talk about, you know, whatever's going on in my life. Mainly books, because that's what I do. So come along, get cozy, put on your pajamas, and it's time for a sleepover. Good morning, my dear friends. So I hope you're very cozy, because I for sure am. I did my makeup, I did my hair, but you cannot expect me to also get dressed for this cozy occasion. So we're going to start out our day with a seamstress's least favorite activity, which is whenever we have to use a new pattern, we have to actually glue everything together and cut it out. So this is the Rosella pattern by Schultz Apparel, and it's kind of got a little, it's too early. So it's got a little bodice that is quite low cut, but it's obviously meant to be a pinafore, so I'm going to wear it over a jumper. So I'm going to cut this out, and then we're going to do a little bit of sewing, and I've got my little pumpkin mug, and very cozy, and maybe once I'm done with the paper I may light a little candle, and I hope you're all comfy and have a blanket for this joyful occasion. Actually just 2 pattern pieces I need, because the pattern comes with a circle skirt, and I just feel like I like circle skirts and I like wearing them, but I don't like making them. But also because I like my skirts being a little bit longer than the pattern calls for, I feel like it would just get very heavy with the wool, so I'll just do the Edwardian pattern that I use for everything. But also, as I was cutting out my pattern, I was looking for a movie to watch while I'm sewing, because I like to have on some kind of background noise. You know, some people would do music, but I like having on some stupid movie, either that I know well enough that I can just walk out and come back and I've never missed anything, or that it's just stupid enough that even if you leave, you're not really missing anything. So I went on Disney Plus and I thought, you know, I'm feeling nostalgic today, and they had John Tucker Must Die. And I don't know if you remember this movie, but this is like peak early 2000s nostalgia, and I was just like, yes, we're going to watch it. You know, it's just going to be one of those days where you're just filled with happiness over old movies and sewing and pumpkin mugs and cats. She's not happy, is she? Even though I chose the smallest size for this pattern, I still ended up with a bodice that was way too big, so I had to take out multiple inches out of the side seams and make the darts bigger. And then I made the lining the exact same way like I made the outer and pinned everything together, and this is the exact moment that I realized this is not actually how you make a lined bodice. And I know how to make a lined bodice, but for some reason I forgot here. But I guess because I had to fit it, I just had to do it this way. So I decided that in the end, I'll face the armholes to finish off these seams. So I just sewed everything together and I tried it on again, and it somewhat fit. I don't know, it looked fine to me in the moment, so I just thought I'd go ahead. But then I realized something. There was actually a really good tune in the background. And with that, let's get back to sewing. Almost lunchtime, so I think I shall be making my lunch. So what can we have? You have a choice between a selection of bread, and bread. So you may have probably realized, based on the fact that the first videos on my channel are German, that I am German. So I think this explains the obsession with bread that is happening here. But I think we shall have a ciabatta roll with crispy tofu, halloumi, salad, and sweet chili sauce. So basically this is how far we are currently. I've sewn down the facing edge, but I still need to sew down the actual facing. But I think I'll do that by hand so that you don't have like a second top stitch around the arm. And then I basically went straight back into sewing without even so much as thinking of a good transition. And here I'm using a thread that is just so ridiculously long that every time I'm looking at me sewing with it, I'm just like, what am I doing here? So basically it's almost finished. I've just pinned everything together very crudely because I just wanted to try it on and kind of see how it fits, but I actually want to have a waistband between the bodice and the skirt, which will then also help because kind of like the bodice opens in the middle, but the skirt opens further to the side in the front side seam, and the actual pattern called for a back zipper, but we don't do zippers here. So I thought this would make more sense. It just kind of means that it kind of opens like this and has then a little ledge to one side and opens further. So the waistband will kind of even that out, hopefully. So I feel like, yeah, if I put the waistband on right and it all goes well, this may look really nice. But if I do it wrong, it could end in a disaster. So I'm not really sure yet whether I'm going to like it. I tell you, there's a lot of pins in here, be careful. So wish me luck. Wish me luck. It's 3:30 now, and I finished the pinafore. My brain is so done. It's not as flattering as I had hoped for, but then I guess that's what you get when you make like a full wool garment that is fitted over a jumper. So I think this is how I would style it. It's my favorite jumper that I'm currently wearing. It wasn't meant to have a button here, but it was still, even though I went for the smallest size and took in lots of the darts and made it smaller, it still ended up being a little bit gapey, so the button kind of deals with that. So the sound came through, so it's very warm now. Not necessarily made better by the fact that I'm wearing a wool dress and jumper. So I think the crafting part of the day is done. I deserve a little break. We've been very successful today. We've managed to make an entire garment in around about 6 hours, so, you know, well done you as well for suffering through this with me. So we're getting to the cozy part of the evening, because now that we've done all of our crafting and working, we deserve cozy. I think we're going to do the thing now that girls do when they feel like they need a change to their life. We're gonna get our hair done. So I like to dye my hair maybe once every half year or so. Basically I just dye it the same color that it is, just a bit darker. So I don't think you'll be able to see a difference. I don't think anyone else will, but I will. And I know it's like new hair, new me. It's half a nuance darker, so, you know, new me. We'll do that together because it's a fun thing to do for a girls' night. once the dyeing was done, I obviously sat around for a long time, not being able to move or do anything, but eventually dinner time came around, so I got all of my ingredients out and then I started preparing my dinner. So welcome to Cooking with Tally! Today we're making some German bolognese. And you're probably asking yourself, how's German bolognese different to any other bolognese? Well, I'm glad you're asking. Well, because we're using our Knorrfix für Spaghetti Bolognese. And fun fact, Jack doesn't actually like German bolognese because he says that we Germans put way too much sugar into our tomato sauces, so they taste way too sweet. I would dare to disagree. But basically, in other news, which I haven't mentioned on Instagram yet, other than on my private stories, I've started writing again. So if you've been around for a longer time, you may know that I have written books before. So I've got some books in German, which are somewhere behind me on my bookshelf. I wrote books which were called Weißblütig. They were just your basic young adult fantasy of like the early 2010s. They were self-published and they were in German, so I don't usually talk about them too much because most of my audience isn't German speaking. But so I've written a new book and it's in English, and yeah, so this time I'm hoping to maybe find an agent, maybe find a publisher, maybe actually get it out there. So I can't really talk all that much about it yet, because the last time I wrote a book was in 2017. So basically I've had a lot of time to think about my story, and it changed in multiple directions, but then I finalized it and now it's written down, and now I just need to get it out there. And then we shall get up early tomorrow and we're going to shoot the Emmy Design collaboration. And then we're going to shoot the reveal for the pinafore. Maybe I'll do some editing and then hopefully I can get this video towards you guys. But for now, I shall enjoy my dinner and watch some of my favorite K-drama, which is 2521. Morning. So I am done. I'm half dressed, which means I'm now going to film some reels. And once the reels are filmed, we can finally go out and shoot some pictures. Yeah, let's film some reels, let's shoot some pictures, and then eat something afterwards. Yeah, so shooting two different outfits in 2 different locations and filming a YouTube video and producing multiple reels was maybe a bit ambitious, on top of also sewing. I feel like I could do with another weekend, but alas, I've got a little Nutella cookie. Shall give me some nutrients while I wait for the oven to heat up so I can make my lunch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of format where I just take you along on my weekend and we sew and we have fun and we talk and we make food. But unfortunately now it is Sunday, so we all have to go back to work. I guess if you like this, like and subscribe, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye bye.